Hello and welcome, Shane from thevanconversion.com here, and today we're going to be looking at how to install an awning on your van. Now there are four types of awnings predominantly for vans. We have side-mounted awnings, which are awnings that are bolted directly onto the side of your van. We're going to be looking at how to install one of those in today's video. This could be the Fiamma F45S or the Dometic Perfect Wall. We also have roof-mounted awnings such as the Fiamma F80S or the Dometic Perfect Roof. We have driveway awnings, which are tent-like structures that we just erect, leave there, and we can drive up to them at our side door and have kind of a second home and then drive away from them. And finally, we have portable awnings like those from Moonshade. These are packable awnings that don't require a permanent install, and they're normally pretty quick and easy to get set up. You can find the links to all of the products that we mentioned in this video in the description below. So we're going to be looking at how to install a Dometic Perfect Wall awning on your van. Now, if you don't have a perfectly flat camper van, you're likely going to need to have some adapters. So Dometic sell adapters depending on the van that you have. I personally have a Citroen Jumper L3H3, so I have the awning adapters for the Perfect Wall specifically for my van. So the first step that we're going to want to do is stick these to the van with some Sikaflex 522. There are 4 of these awning adapters, and in the instruction manual that comes from Dometic, it tells you the exact width and gap to leave depending on the size of awning that you have. So we're going to leave that 24 hours to cure, and then we're going to go back out to the van the next day and we are going to bolt them in for a nice permanent install. Now we can see there are bolt holes in all 4 of the adapter pieces, so we're going to have a 6.5mm drill bit, and then we're going to be popping bolts through those holes. Once we have the bolt going through these adapter plates, we simply put an interior adapter, which again come with the adapter set, onto the inside of the van, and we pop the bolt right the way through from the outside to the inside and tighten it down. So let's hop out to the van and see how to install it. So the first thing we're going to do is get up with just a cloth, and we're just going to wipe the whole top down, because this is where we're going to be bonding the adapter unit. And if you have a really dirty van, you might need some hot soapy water. So what I'm doing now is we've got 4 of these adapters and they're spaced along the van. There's a little lip at the top of the adapter that just sits down onto the lip on top of the van. Now that's the case with, at least with this Citroen Jumper that I have. Here we go, and I found that little lip just there. It clicks in reasonably nicely.
Measure out and mark the exact locations of the 4 awning adapters that you have. Now, depending on the model and length of the awning that you have, those measurements will differ, so make sure you consult the manual.
Hey, Shane here. Quick heads up before we continue. If you're planning a van conversion, you'll know that there's a lot to learn and it can get a little bit overwhelming. That's why I created the Van Conversion Mastery course. It walks you through the entire build step by step. Electrics, insulation, carpentry, plumbing, metalwork, the whole shebango. Instead of bouncing between 50 different YouTube videos, you get one clear, correct sequence to follow. Thousands of students have taken the course since 2019, and thevanconversion.com now helps over 1 million people a year build their dream van. I'm a certified electrical installer, so everything in the course is safe, standards-based, and explained simply, so you can build with confidence. If you think this might help you out, you can get it at thevanconversion.com/mastery. The link is in the description below. So we've finished marking the 4 holes or the 4 locations on the roof where the adapter plates are going to go. So the next step is to put some of our adhesive sealant on the back of these. Now we're going to be putting this, we have Sikaflex 522, on all of the ribbed sections here. So I'm going to start squirting it out. So the larger mounting plate goes on the far sides in each location. So I'm going to go ahead and Sikaflex this one up. We're going to leave each of these 24 hours overnight, and then we're going to come back tomorrow once they're all done to drill all the holes through. All right, we've come here the next day, hence my new t-shirt, and we are going to be drilling through these guide holes that are supplied on the awning adapters. On the inside, we're going to be putting one of these backing plates and popping a bolt the whole way through. It's M6 sized, the bolt. So let's go ahead and drill through. So we drilled all those bolt holes now, so I just want to clean off the swarf. Next we're going to pop some sealant in. This is just some Sikaflex 522, and we're going to be putting some of this sealant after we put the screw, or the bolt in, should I say. We're going to be putting a little bit more sealant then on top. So I'm going to be popping these two bolts through, and cameraman Chris is going to be going on the inside with that backing flange, which we'll show in a second how to do it. So there on the inside, you can see the bolts coming through the backing plate with the nuts and washers on there. So we've put in the backing flanges for the first three. They've been extremely fiddly on the inside. It's definitely a two-person job. But for the fourth one, we have a little bit more of a complicated scenario because the backing flange goes right behind this piece of sheet metal here. So we're actually going to need to angle grind this off, cut out this piece of metal here, so that we can get the backing flange on. So health and safety, kids. Job is good. So what we're going to go now is get a metal file and just file that down, remove any burrs off of the metal, make it nice and smooth. And then the last step will be just to, oh, I'm quite sweaty, that was really hot. Ooh, is to put some metal paint on all of those edges there. Those exposed metal edges can rust if they're not treated. We have Hammerite white metal paint here, just on any of those exposed edges. The big moment has occurred, and it's time to put the awning on, which weighs a rather large amount. Oh, that was really quite easy. High five, man. Brilliant. Okay, so there's just two little small bolts, one up the top of the van and one just here. So we just got a 3mm drill bit, and we're just going to drill through there and then pop the little small screw bolts in. And that's two. Just pop a wee bit of sealant on. They're just tiny little screw bolts. A little bit of sealant. Okay, so we've installed the awning on the roof. Let's just have a quick look at how to use it. They give you one of these furling rods here. So on the left side, you just pop it in and you just give it a turn and the awning comes out nice and easy. Our legs here touch the ground. So we've got two legs that are on the inside. You can see 1 and 2 here. So to take it out, you just pull out from the side like this. Pull it along, and then this side here just clicks. To lock this leg down now, we just pull this lever here down, and now you just get 2 camping pegs like you would have for a tent. And you'd have the same on this side then. And that's about all there is to it. Just a few little niggles and good things to know with the awning in general. First of all, we blew this thing pretty swiftly after using it for the first time, and that's because these were fully extended, these legs that come out to support the awning. And when they're fully extended and you try to use this furler, there's a huge amount of pressure on it. So if it's fully extended, when you're furling it in, just push it in so it's slightly bent like this. Another little niggle that we found with this awning is you can see down here there's a slight gap underneath the leg and the ground. So we have to bring it down ever so slightly in order to peg it in. Now, we wouldn't have had to do that if the awning was mounted lower on the van. This is the L3H3 Citroen jumper or Citroen relay. It's the really high top one. So the awning brackets are quite high, but if we had just installed those awnings brackets a little bit lower, our legs would have touched the ground, which would have been a little bit better, but even better, it was a little bit of a pain in the butt to install this awning because it was extremely niggly on the inside. Poor Chris had a really hard time trying to get all the washers and all of the nuts on. And if we had installed those brackets slightly lower, we would have been on sheet metal on the inside. So those were just two little things so that you can do it even better than we did. Now, because I have a side-mounted awning on the van, there is a little gap between the van and the awning. And annoyingly, through that little gap, rainwater can come through. So I've bought the Fiamma Rain Guard. This is a rather expensive piece of rubber with an adhesive backing on the back of it that will block up that gap between the van and the awning. Dometic don't actually sell this product, even though we're using a Dometic awning. Now, you don't get this rain problem with roof-mounted awnings like the Fiamma F80S or the Dometic Perfect Roof, but those awnings do take up extra roof space, which for me, I have a big solar panel set up on the roof. That just wasn't going to be an option. I needed to go with this side-mounted option. So let's hop out to the van and see how to install it. So the first thing I want to do is measure the length of our awning so I can cut the rain guard to the correct length. Now, usually with the Fiamma Rain Guard, if you have a Fiamma awning, you glue the adhesive part of the rain guard onto the awning itself. The Dometic awnings are actually mounted lower on the van, so I don't have the ability to do that. So what I'm going to do is actually stick the adhesive part to the van itself. Just like so. So the adhesive strip is stuck to the van and this loose end is on the top of the awning. Before I do that, we have a little alcohol wipe, a little surface cleaner, and I'm going to clean the entire surface of the van where I'm going to be sticking the rain guard to. Next, I need to apply some primer. We've got a little kind of crayon here, and if I just snap it, like so, the primer comes loose, at least according to the instructions, and I'm going to rub this then all along the van surface. All right, time to take off the tape backing and stick it to the van.